What happens to the Republican Party post-Trump? How does the Democratic Party find its footing?
I'm usually in conversations like this or in speeches, and I'll ask the room, how many people think that the American political system is working today? And usually out of a group of 100 people, there'll be one person who will raise their hand, and it's the individual that had hit the bar before the speech and was drunk. Needless to say, most people don't. My view is it's working perfectly. It's working perfectly for the people that designed it. And that's the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
Yes.
It works terrific for them. They can raise lots of money. They can tell, if you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, they can tell you that he's the evil person and you better give money just so we can stop him. And then the Democrats will say, you need to give me your money because we got to stop him. It is a structural problem. And we didn't have so much the structural problem back in the organization of our political system the way back then. The divisions, I would argue, were even larger than they are today, the divisions. But the problem we've got now is we've got a structural problem. I can't answer your question, what happens on the Republicans, but I can give you an indication. If the Trump years are successful, I think that means that you will have the Trump, I don't want to say ideologues because they're not ideologues, but at least the Trump affiliations, that will continue to run the Republican Party. If they are not successful, and we'll know this kind of in 26, if it's not, then I think it does open the door. Who walks into those open doors, I'm not sure. But I think a lot of it's going to depend on how people view the Trump years and if this next 4 years are successful or not. The Democrats have, I think, some completely different problems attached to it. One, they're clearly on their heels now. They have not figured out how to respond at all to the Trump agenda as well as the time frame that he's attached to it. But I think there's something that's deeper to that too. Clearly, they don't have the leadership. They've got themselves in a hole, which is an economic hole, not just a political hole. We make the argument political hole. The nation is not progressive. So when you have these progressives come forward, I think they're going to have a very, very difficult job of getting elected kind of nationwide. That's not where the nation is. The nation, when it comes right down to it, is slightly right of center. That's kind of where most people fall if you talk to them and you look at the surveys and the different polling and that sort of thing. The Democrats have developed an economic model, however, that is oriented towards a very progressive agenda. That's where their money comes from. And it's not little money, it's big money. It's billions of dollars. For them to move back, as a lot of Democrats would advocate, back to what when I grew up was their strength, was Ohio, Pennsylvania. It was the working class. It was the union, which now really, if you look at the last election, went to the Republicans and the Trump. For them to pivot back and get that, they've got to turn their back on what I'll call the elite agendas on the coast. Mm-hmm. And that's going to cost them a lot of money. I think that's going to be a real problem. I think that's one of the things that they're going to have to balance, because staying progressive is not where the nation's going to be. They're going to have to move, but for them to move, they're going to have to give up a lot of money, because those folks that are giving them a lot of money today, they don't care about those issues of the working class in Ohio. They care about their identity issues, and that's where they put the money. And for the most part, those folks are very rich, and they've isolated themselves, and they're only concerned about their own agenda.
Well, it's funny because it's like, I mean, it's the economy stupid was a Bill Clinton phrase.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if anybody remembers, but Bill Clinton's a Democrat. So in what, 25?
Ran balanced budget, the last balanced budget in history.
That's so to stray 30 years to stray so far away from that simple statement is it's fascinating.
You know, if you were in the Clinton years and thought about where's the Democratic Party going to be, you'd be stunned at where it is now. If you were in the Republican Party and you worked in the George W. Bush, not even H.W., but George W. Bush administration, I think you'd be surprised at where the Republican Party is today. I mean, the Republican Party fiscally, we'll see where this plays out, but the Republicans have spent as wildly and as dumb and stupidly as the Democrats have. This view of globalization, Ukraine, Russia, that's completely foreign to anything that you would have thought of the Republican Party 10 years ago. It's fascinating to watch this. It's just unfortunate that there is so much at stake.